Watching the 2024 SCAC Fall Media Days. Today, we're taking a look at the Centenary College men's soccer program. The Gents will be led once again as they head into the season of the guidance of head coach Kevin White, along with leadership from sophomore defender Hayden McConnell. Coach Hayden, thanks so much for joining us today.
Glad to be here, of course.
Coach, we'll open up with you heading into year 4 as the head coach of this Gents men's soccer program. I know last year we talked a lot about that transition period and learning curve with this program. Now, as we head into this 4th year, what are you most impressed with as far as the growth that this program has been able to make over these past 3 years? And how excited are you with that growth to be heading into this 2024 season?
Yeah, I think where we've taken the biggest steps is kind of the culture of the team that we've been building. I think, everyone that's here now hasn't played for the previous coach, from the past staff. So, it's a lot closer to being all of our recruits and all the guys that we've been with this entire time, say for the, guys that are seniors that were recruited by the previous one, but they've only played for me. So that kind of culture that we've built with who we've brought in, and kind of everyone knows the standards and expectations of how we want to do things. I think it's taken a lot of big steps to getting that where we want to be. So that to me is kind of the biggest first step I think we can take as a program of how we want to go about our business on a daily basis.
Hey, Coach talks about, the building of that culture and, pushing the program in those directions. You're a big part of that. You're part of a huge first-year class from a season ago, jumping into your college experience right away, making 11 starts last year in your first collegiate season. What did you learn over the course of that first year of collegiate action? How much confidence do you gain getting thrown into the mix right away? And how excited are you to be back here to start your sophomore campaign with this group heading into 2024?
Yeah, well, first off, I'm very excited for this year. I think there's a lot that this team can do. And so getting 11 starts was definitely a big confidence booster. And it kind of made me realize how quick I had to grow up and help our team. And I think it's really going to make a difference this year because it gave me that experience to help lead others and prepare them for the season. So that way they're not just getting thrown into it. And it showed me how tough this conference is and that you really can't take a day off because every team is good. There's not one bad team in this conference. So the biggest thing is just going in with a positive mindset and working hard every day.
Coach, we talked ahead of last year. You knew there was going to be some young guys within your program making immediate impacts. And you look at this roster from a season ago, I think 5 freshmen made 5 or more starts from this team. 10 in total got at least 1 start. Hayden, obviously one of those guys sitting next to you that made a big impact in his first season. So now, getting that experience from some of these younger guys, having that year of college under their belt, for you as a coach, what's the biggest challenge kind of helping them evolve and take that next step, understanding your expectations day in and day out, but now, okay, we're here, we've got this culture, we're starting to build now. For you as a coach, what are those challenges in taking those next steps with this group heading into this season?
I think the biggest challenge is now we have to, put some of those together for results against these teams that have been consistently winning in this conference. We know what the level is, and I don't think anyone's satisfied to not be challenging. I think that's the next biggest steps is, especially in the table, beating some of those teams that we've been around. And, for the guys that had that year of experience now where, Hayden would have started more than 11 games had he not picked up an injury. So, that was a big deal for those guys last year because they got to not just experience it from the sideline, but they got to have that experience on the field. And so, you hope they take some of those lessons learned in those tough games. You hope that it kind of can motivate them because they know what it's going to look like. They know, what that daily grind, especially when we get to October, what it looks like, what it feels like. And so it's trying to lean on all those things that they learned from last year and then build the next steps. And it's, if that's, more fitness, if that's, just learn a little bit more about who our competition is and, raising our level there, the little things that everyone can do, maybe different for some, but it's got to be we got to start adding a few results here and there to what we've been. You know, I don't think our conference record has been where we want it to be. So that's we got to take some steps in that direction.
Hayden, you talked a little bit about it, and listening to Coach, talking about the importance of that experience and going through an SCAC gauntlet of a schedule. What are the biggest challenges in trying to go through that SCAC schedule? What did you learn over the course of last year, and why do you feel like this group is equipped to meet those challenges as you get prepared to head into this season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously every team is good, so you have to go into every game with the same mindset that we have a chance to win this game and we're gonna. And getting that experience last year showed me how good every team is. So for the freshmen coming in, I think they'll be better prepared and they'll realize that this is one of the best conferences. So you got to come in with that mindset that this is our game and we're going to win it. And I think this team this year has the ability, because just having conversations with a lot of the freshmen, they all have a very positive mindset and they're ready to win. I think they're pretty hungry.
Coach, with a young group, and you talk about sort of wanting to take those next steps and see those results. Talk a little bit about this team. Who are some of these younger players that are emerging into these roles as sophomores and juniors and even seniors that you feel are really going to be a huge part of getting those results, taking into those leadership spaces and positions that maybe they haven't been in the past, but you're going to lean on heavily as you go into this season to help manufacture some of those results in the year?
Yeah, I think the guys that are seniors that have been here for their whole 4 years, there's a couple in that group that I think will definitely be some leaders by example, because they may not be the most vocal guys, but a guy like Brennan Amato, he's been starting since day one of his freshman year, and I know we'll rely very heavily on him. He's one of the hardest workers on the team. He'll anything that's asked of him, he'll go out and do it with a smile on his face, kind of a guy. So he'll be one that I think is he's such a good example to the younger guys, because he's a senior that's still winning fitness tests and still working, trying to outwork everybody else. And so when you have someone with that kind of mentality and attitude as an older guy to set an example, that's a very good thing. I think Hayden, we want to be a leader on this team. He's a starting center back that we want him to have a voice back there, where he's obviously leading by example on the field, but also being one of those younger guys that is going to be relied on for not just his play but his leadership within the group. Guys definitely listen to him already as one of the younger guys, and so it's going to be a probably good mix of youth versus senior leadership that we have, just because of that group from last year. Our class this year was smaller, but we knew it was going to be. So there's still got to be that mix of those returning guys and then the oldest guys that are kind of just leading the way. So we'll do our captain's vote here shortly. I'm very interested to see how it turns out.
Hayden, as we wrap things up with you, as you've had some conversations with some of the other leaders within this group, some of your other teammates, about the goals and expectations for this team heading into this season here in 2024. What have those conversations looked like, and ultimately, what do you see as being key in trying to accomplish those heading into this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think talking with some of the players and some of the older guys too, our biggest thing was changing the culture this year and getting a winning mindset in here. And I think a lot of people are buying into it, and the freshmen are only going to do what they know. So if they see all of us doing all these different things, they're going to buy into it, and they're not going to go their own way. So I think just setting a good example for them is going to benefit the whole team. And yeah, I'm excited for this season.
Coach, lastly, success in our sports arena can be measured in so many different ways. And just hearing, Hayden and the way he talks about this upcoming season, clearly you've delivered that message to these guys about kind of that next right thing and setting that culture. So, when you have talked about success with your program, what is that message that you've tried to deliver? How have you tried to kind of define success with your men and your student athletes? And ultimately, this season looks successful if what plays out here in 2024.
Yeah, I think there's some definitely different metrics you can look at that way. I mean, The easiest one is obviously did we win more games than we did in the past? I think that's one way you can look at it. And I think there are certain statistical areas where we want to improve on in certain areas, defensively and attacking wise. So we could say, hey, if we improve these numbers, that could be success. I think if the easiest way to say it, though, if you're not looking at data points, is how do we feel at the end of the year about the group that played together? Is there a feeling of we could have done more? Whether that be results, whether that be how we played, whether that be how hard we worked. Like, are we leaving it all out there? So if we feel good about the performance we gave, that's I think one way that you can look at it, and hopefully the good performances and the hard work lead to the results as well. And then I think the other thing that we've also really wanted to have success on is these guys in the classroom as well. We've wanted them to do well there. Hayden's a great example of that. He had a great freshman year academically, and we've definitely been pushing that on these guys also to do well in the classroom, so that one, they're not in jeopardy of missing out on the field, but two, when they do leave here, it's something that they can be proud of as well. So, I think there's a lot of different metrics we would look at that we can use to determine success. So, obviously the more you hit on, the better you feel about how it all went.
Centenary College head men's soccer coach Kevin White, along with leadership from sophomore defender Hayden McConnell. The Gents will open up the 2024 campaign on the road at Piedmont on August 31st. Coach Hayden, thanks so much for your time today, and best of luck as you head into the year.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Appreciate it.